Hi, welcome to Ladies of Fandom, our very first episode. 2016 was a very busy year, mainly for death.
People died this year?
Yes,
Seriously?
yes. I know, kind of a sad subject. We're going to talk about who died, who was maybe behind the mask, running the show. Alice, Alyssa, and I will discuss here on Ladies of Fandom. And we're live here on our very first episode of Ladies of Fandom. Of course, I've got Alice.
Alyssa, you mean?
And Alyssa. This is why we keep going. This is why it's live. Alice,
Thank
Alyssa.
You. At least
This
you
is
didn't
my
call
fault.
me April.
You don't look
Gavin
much like
calls me April all the time.
Well, and we have, obviously, Courtney.
Yes, Courtney, by the
Hey,
way.
Courtney.
Hi. Yeah, you can tell it's the first episode because I've lost my bleeping mind. That I have to remember to censor myself. You had to follow FCC rules. So how was your holiday?
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Anything special happen?
Other than InkyCon,
Yeah.
not really that much. Pretty uneventful. Even though working retail is never uneventful.
Working retail. I love my job. My boss, if you're watching me, I love my job, but oh my god. Trying to prep for a show and work retail at the same time while everything else is going on around me in the dumpster fire that was 2016. I'm here. We're calm. We're relaxed. We're good. We're live. 2 years of hard work has finally paid off. I don't know if it felt that long for you, but it certainly felt like that for me. And 2016 was a dumpster fire.
Yeah, behind
Yeah.
a Taco Bell.
Yeah.
With some homeless people in it.
No. Alice, you are definitely our darker member.
Thank you. I pride myself on being dark as possible.
And yet you look so bright and fresh. I thought I was the dark one here.
It's all a ruse.
I thought I was the goth.
It's always the cute ones.
It is always the cute ones.
All right, so unfortunately, we've got a very kind of wicked first segment. Who did we lose over 2016? This is why 2016 was the dumpster fire. It was. We lost at the very first indication of the year. We lost David Bowie. May he rest in glittery peace. Bless you. Someone sneezed in the background. So, David Bowie, I know it's a hard loss for everybody, especially considering he's the first one that we lost.
And then,
That
and then a couple days later, you lose Alan and Rickman. You lose both of them in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, that was
Rough start.
Rough start.
especially for a lot of us. I know David Bowie meant a lot to us, especially here at Ladies of Fandom, because we're all somewhere on the GLBT rainbow spectrum. I'm bisexual, pansexual, however you want to term it. Pretty much I'm Captain Kirk and Captain Jack all rolled into one.
Oh my.
Take that as you will.
I don't think anyone can handle that.
No.
I can. If anybody can, it's me. Several others are also somewhere on that spectrum. I'll let them say where they are if they want to. If not, just know that they're my allies, and I appreciate them deeply. Huh?
Nothing.
Oh, I'm warm. Poor Alice. I made her lose her sweatshirt earlier because trying to make it look a little nicer here. I mean, is there anything special about David Bowie y'all have in memory of? Like any special moments?
Labyrinth.
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 That's the number one.
Oh my god.
Besides
Yeah.
Labyrinth, and even in Labyrinth, just an inspiration to be yourself, be who you are, because when he was not who anyone was supposed to be,
No.
he was still absolutely 100% authentically
Himself.
at all times.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that would have been really interesting, and I actually would have wanted to seen it, which means that if the multiverse happens, this exists.
Oh, fun.
Bowie was the first choice for Gandalf in Lord of the Rings before Ian McKellen, and I want to go to that multiverse and say, I want to see your Lord of the Rings.
Only if he wears the same pants as Jareth.
Oh my god, yes.
Underneath the rope. You wouldn't be able to tell underneath the ropes.
But
The riding scenes. And they're there.
But they're there.
And the rope comes open every now and then. Granted, I'm a very bad fangirl. I didn't exactly enjoy Lord of the Rings. Beautiful cinematography. Peter Jackson did a wonderful job on that one. But it was a little dry, and it was a little bit too sausage festy even for me, and I like my sausage. I like everything. What can I say? I'm going to do my best to crack up my co-host. They have to put up with me. They love me. Right?
Most of the time.
By court order.
By court order. And then we followed up with Alan Rickman, which is a very big loss to me because he was Severus Snape. And, well, that was one of my top characters of all time, just in general. Then he played a very eccentric painter. I don't know if you two know this movie, January Man. Oh my, that was not my first exposure to Alan Rickman. That, of course, belongs to Hans Gruber. But January Man held a special place in my heart because it's just such a campy movie. It's got a couple of other actors in there that I can't remember the name of. Once that chick with the curly hair from The Abyss, Mary Elizabeth Mastertino or something like that. I am sorry if you are watching this. You are a very lovely actress. And I want to say Magnum, but it wasn't Magnum. But it looked like Magnum PI. But that's my favorite role of his outside of Severus Snape. And so I took that loss pretty hard. I'm pretty sure a couple of y'all did too. I mean,
well,
Galaxy Quest is one of my favorite movies.
Galaxy Quest and the filmed Sweeney Todd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, Love Actually.
Yes, he was in Love Actually. I need to actually see that one because it has a lot of my favorite British actors that aren't in Harry Potter.
I've known you for this long and I haven't made you watch that movie?
No.
Alice, what's wrong with you?
I know, I'm slipping my game.
Apparently the Ladies Watch is also going to be a thing in the future. Not only Ladies Make, because I got some awesome Christmas gifts thanks to some people who are in the studio. If he wants a shout out, give me a thumbs up. Hi, Nate. Some pretty awesome Christmas gifts, like a cookbook from one of my favorite game franchises that has anything to do here or there, but kind of going off topic about some of the future here. All right, who else? I know we lost a lot of other people. Like, who is your biggest loss outside of Alan Rickman? And, of course, the big one that we're not really talking about because we don't want to cry on TV, but we have to mention her, Carrie
Besides
Fisher.
the big one we're not touching yet, honestly, Elie Wiesel was a really big hit to me, and that's outside of entertainment too. He was an author, professor,
very big
proponent of all humanitarian efforts.
Yeah, Elie Wiesel wrote
Night.
Thank you. I'm like, it's right there on the tip of my tongue. This is why I have them, because they are my spare brains. I'm going to give them a lot of props over the first episode, so they'll stay with me for the rest of the season. Because once this episode is done, they're locked in. They can't escape. They're getting
by court order.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
By court order.
Yeah, the tracking devices are being prepared as we speak. Elie Wiesel, big loss there just for the entire world on that one, because it's
besides his writings, which was so
phenomenal.
much more than just Night. So many of his efforts towards just supporting, generally being good to your fellow humans in sometimes causes that were very much overlooked at the time they were happening, much like the topic of Night.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a couple of
I
others.
do have one. Anton Yelchin.
Anton Yelchin.
Seriously,
That was such a freak accident, too.
It was such a freak accident, and I guarantee you, he's younger than each and every single one of these hosts on this show. He has such a good career ahead of him, and I would have loved to see what he made of himself in acting.
I mean, he played...
It was sad.
Yeah, he played Pavel Chekhov, and it was such a good role for him because he had that charisma that Chekhov had, and he had that accent nailed because he grew up in part of that area. He may not have lived it most of his life, but he grew up with the accent.
And the sheer variety he could perform
Yeah.
was outstanding. Actually, his passing hit me again just a few days ago when I popped onto Netflix and started watching Troll Hunters, which, by the way, is good.
Yes.
When I made myself watch Fright Night, that's when it hit me, because he's in Fright Night 2 with David Tennant, which is fantastic.
Yes. Oh my god. I actually got through a horror movie because it was him and David Tennant, and it was such a blast watching Fright Night. And I was going to mention that one, and he will be missed. Maybe, yeah, all of them will be missed. We've lost a couple of good scientists like Vera Rubin, and I have to look at my notes, Susan Lindquist, both pioneers in their fields. Vera Rubin being the astrophysicist who helped discover, if not discovered herself, dark matter.
Provided the most convincing evidence to effectively prove the existence of dark matter.
Dark matter to catch you up. We're all kind of science nerds in this building, or at least this half the table is. You like science, right?
A little bit, but I'm not a nerd about it.
Yeah, I'm the science nerd as well as Alyssa. Dark matter is a very fascinating subject to me. To sum it up, it's the 98% of matter that makes up the universe that we can't see. It's that gap between atoms and protons and things like that, and it's really hard to pin down. It's just, there are a lot of good fiction and nonfiction books that deal with the subject, my favorite being the Dark Materials trilogy. And that's a subject for another time. Susan Lindquist pioneered the protein folding theories and science and biology. Protein folding is, of course, how a lot of proteins work and activate and do their thing. Don't quote me on everything, because I'm more of an astrophysicist than a biologist, but I'm neither of those things to begin with. So, but I know more astrophysics than biology.
Either way, both of them did work foundational to continuing in that field.
Yeah. Vera Rubin was a pioneer simply because she was one of the first women in her field, and she continued to prove she a valuable asset to the science community well up until almost a couple of weeks before her death. Susan Lindquist, of course, too, but kind of following in Vera Rubin's footsteps. There's, of course, Debbie Reynolds. This one is another one that hit home for me.
Oh, yeah.
Back into the entertainment field. I first fell in love with Debbie Reynolds, and the older I get, the more I realize I was in love with this character. Her character in Singing in the Rain, because she's such a sweetheart in Singing in the Rain, and just kind of my not really experience with Fanboy TV so far, but kind of the way I've approached it and been dragged into it. Kind of my experience there. She also played some amazing things. She was the grandmother in Halloween Town, which
was an unexpected hit, really.
Yeah, fantastic movie.
And the rest of the series was surprisingly not awful.
Yeah.
I kind of lost it after 2.
Yeah, but a sequel of a sequel is... Yeah.
But still, it's...
And moving
she was
back,
such a sweetheart.
In the musical world, which, as someone who grew up watching many musicals, Debbie Reynolds was huge to me, also as... you know, Molly Brown in The Unsinkable Molly Brown.
Yeah. I need to see that one, because Molly Brown as a character is fascinating to me. I didn't even know it existed until I was going over Debbie Reynolds' previous works. And this is actually kind of a shame for me, because I grew up with Rodgers and Hammerstein musicals and the musicals of the 50s and 60s on the town, things like that.
You should be ashamed.
I am ashamed, because I didn't even know it existed. I didn't know there was a musical of that.
Outstanding. One of my top musicals of that era.
Yeah, and then...
I think we're missing one of the big ones she did. Charlotte from Charlotte's Web.
She did voice Charlotte. Wait, yes. Which Charlotte's Web, though?
In the original animated.
The original animation, yes, she did.
Yeah, oh my god, yeah. Now that I think about it. Yeah, I missed that one. That one was good. Okay, let's see. Back to my notes. Gene Wilder, may he rest in peace again. That one is just, that's a loss overall, because he he was such a fascinating man. He's I love you, Mr. Depp, but he's about 5 times better and more varied than Johnny Depp in any of his roles, and he's the only reason why I even tolerate Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I'm getting that one right.
No,
Yes. Or
no, it's Willy Wonka and the
Willy
Chocolate
Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Charlie
Yeah,
and
the
the
original.
Chocolate Factory is Johnny Depp.
Yeah. Because there's one scene in Charlie or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. There is a confusion there. In the original, that just freaked me the heck out as a kid. And
is it the boat scene?
It is the boat scene, and
That is terrifying.
That's
with the swirling lights and the camera. And,
Yes.
yeah.
that is an acid trip on film. I swear to God, even worse than 2001. You remember that scene, I hope. If you don't, go look it up after you watch our video. He's the only reason why I tolerate going back to that film, because I can fast forward through that part and I'm fine. It's not like Gremlins, which no to Gremlins.
Why no to Gremlins?
Those things are freaky, and they're even freakier as Mogwai than they are as Gremlins.
You need
But
to
all
watch
you
Gremlins 2 when they try to attack New York.
But all you need is a blender.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, but still, oh yeah. When the Furbies came out, I nearly wanted to throw the one my sister got into the fire.
And a UV light. That's all you need.
Yeah, they didn't like the sun very much. But yeah, my favorite Gene Wilder, going back to the topic, of course, is Blazing Saddles. And
outside of entertainment, like so many of the people we lost this year, he did good work in raising awareness of ovarian cancer.
yeah,
Thanks to one of his spouses.
yeah,
Well, not thanks to exactly
yeah.
as she passed away from it, but
All right.
it led to good works.
Now, the very last one we mentioned before we move on topics. This one, it hit the ladies hard because there'd been that hope. Carrie Fisher. She's kind of the one thing where when she first had her heart attack, I swore she'd need to be on the show before she could die. And unfortunately, I didn't get to keep that promise to myself. Not through any fault of my own. Because she would have been hilarious to have on the show.
The saddest thing about Carrie Fisher's death was the effect that it had on her mother. Because I guarantee you,
Yes.
they even said that her mother probably died of a broken heart because she missed her so much.
Well, and
Yeah,
it
they
was
were so
within
close.
48 hours.
48 hours of each other.
Yeah. I mean, Carrie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds both were pioneers in the mental health field, mainly for normalizing taking your medicines and being a regular human being with the rest of them.
Just lifting the stigma and,
Yeah.
being able to say that this is part of you and that's okay.
Yeah. It's normalizing doing everything that we're gonna miss our General Organa, and watching episode 8 is going to be such a bittersweet tearjerker for me, just to watch her one last time.
Watching Rogue One was a bittersweet tearjerker for
Oh,
me. That
yes.
killed me.
Well,
Don't
especially-
spoil it for me.
Especially as I happened to watch it, no spoilers, shortly after she passed away.
Oh,
that was
God.
That must have been terrible.
I do have to say that, no spoilers, the special effects were just outstanding.
All right, now moving on to our next topic, and here's where we get to play a little fun game, sort of. Who was writing 2016, for heaven's sake? 2016 saw very many things happen, not just in the geek industry, but overall in life, that we're just like, what is going on here? Like, was it Martin?
I want to say Rowling, but I'm talking like Order of Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince
Ooh.
Rowling.
That's a tough one. I'm just gonna throw this in at y'all. Betty White, because out of all of them, she's the one that wouldn't surprise me the most. But yet here she is. Happy birthday, belated to her. I love you, Betty White. But who did you sign a contract with?
Or Stan Lee. It could have been Stan
Could have been
Lee.
Stan Lee.
I'd stand by Moffat.
Moffat, yeah. Moffat was there. There are reasons for Moffat, mainly because Moffat can be Moffat.
Oh, because he only takes the things you started to really care about.
Oh yeah. I would say Joss Whedon, but we didn't get a happy-ish ending with 2016. I mean, watching 2016 go down the drain while spending a quiet evening in, yeah, sure, fine. But I wouldn't exactly call it a happy ending.
Well, neither did Dr. Horrible. Dr. Horrible didn't end on a happy note.
Yeah, but Dr. Horrible, well, I guess Dr. Horrible would count. Well, it does count, but as much as it is. Let's see. Moffat. Dwight, Martin. Anybody else that y'all can think of? I mean,
I don't know. I'm starting to like this Betty White theory.
yeah, I mean, come on.
Some supernatural-esque, as in the show, demon contract happened.
Yeah.
And because her soul was just too valuable, they had to go pick out all these others.
I would have said Stan Lee myself as well, because Stan Lee is a year older than Betty White.
All right.
They're in a cult together.
Yep. New theory.
New theory. They're in a
Joint
cult together.
contract.
I mean, it's. I mean, why else? Who else? I mean, we got Whedon, famous for taking those we love. Damn you, darn you, Whedon, darn you. Martin, of course. I would actually, honestly, vote for Martin somehow writing 2016, like Death Note style, because it's. That's the easiest explanation for me outside of a.
Let's try and find a pattern here.
Okay, we lost the king, the prince, a lot of other people. It just.
What if Death, like.
Death had to have made a contract with somebody.
What if Death is actually making its own kingdom, and they need the nobles around?
Or,
this was brought up to me, but it's actually more. The more I think about it, the more it's starting to make sense.
Because we got the king, King Jareth. We got the court wizard. Or prince. We got the prince. That's a big one we forgot this year.
We got the queen, Debbie Reynolds, and we've got
and
Princess Leia.
We got.
It's shaping up.
It actually is, if you think about it. And you've also got the wizard being Alan Rickman.
I mean, it's the scientists and the bards that we lost this year. George Michael, of course, being another one we forgot. Mainly because George Michael was much of my childhood music. I don't know about these two, but it's every other song on the radio, like right after his passing at work, was just like, I'm going to have to turn the radio out because it was a George Michael song in some way, shape, or form. And this is one of those sad ones for me because I didn't realize just how much he was influencing my childhood and my young adulthood until he passed and they started playing all of his music, and I'm like, oh my god, this one belonged to George Michael and this one from Wham, and my poor bleeding heart couldn't take any more abuse.
Mine was someone else we lost this year. Lemmy.
Oh, Lemmy.
I was a little metalhead as a kid.
It's that one. It was a big loss for me, but not so much. Mainly because I love my metal, but he's a little outside of my wheelhouse. Maybe I need to fix that. I know. I'm getting some stern looks from everybody, even in the booth. You should see my Spotify playlist. It's like
they're making a list back there of everything you need to watch and listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just gonna.
Maybe I'm the one being kidnapped later.
We're leaving here into a van, and then we're going to make you watch and listen to all these things.
So
in the van.
In the van.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Now moving on to.
If you're gonna kidnap someone, stay mobile. Don't stop.
Now I'm gonna move on to someplace a little happier because we need to end this show on a happy note. Announcing next show, we're going to do what are we most excited for here in 2017. Don't give your answers now. I mean, kind of want to keep it short and sweet, but yeah, definitely most of anticipated events of 2017, books, movies, performances. Just seeing where 2017, I did it. I'm sorry. 2017 goes. Let's see if 2017 is going to kick 2016 in the teeth and then throw the dumpster that it was on fire into some sort of
larger dumpster
and then stuff it out. But so how was that, y'all think? Anything we missed for 2016? No? Yes? Anything that because don't rely on me for 100% remembering everything.
I think we're missing one person.
Who are we missing?
We're missing Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali.
It's true.
Yeah, we are missing Muhammad Ali. If we're talking about people who raised awareness for certain things,
Yeah.
he was very much a huge loss.
Yeah, he was a good sportsman and pretty much a good advocate for peace, despite being what he was, a boxer. So
I think what's also most important, considering the losses in 2016, with almost every loss, someone had something bad to say, and it made me think that a lot of these people were our heroes.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
But that every hero does still have their dark side, whether it was drugs or mental illness or some bad relationship experience or just holding on to their own sordid past.
Anyway, they did the best they could, and I mean,
we're human.
only
Everybody has a dark
dancers.
side.
All right, anyway, that's it for Ladies of Fandom, episode 1. See you next week.